Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend, and I am back. Sorry about last week. I don't know if anybody's here yet. The internet was terrible. I actually ended up having a terrible headache, and then my water heater died on me, and then my phone died on me. So I just didn't get a chance to go live. So welcome. Please subscribe and like if you're new. I will do as always, all readings and divinations are for the purposes of entertainment only. I am not, hi JJ, I am not a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist, or a financial advisor. If you need one of those, please seek those. How are you? Hi, Nicole. It's so weird. You guys are typing. Type and let me know if you're here because it doesn't show that anybody's here on my little counter thing. I hope everybody's having a nice weekend. We went out to eat. We went for a little walk in the woods. There's lots of great trails near here. Putting on some lip stuff. So we went on an easy hike. My oldest daughter opted to stay home because the last time I took them on this trail, it was me by myself. And my youngest was like 3 at the time. I think so. And I carried her. I ended up carrying her because it's whatever, like on my little, one of those like little backpack carriers. Hi, Mallory. So it was much easier this time around. But my oldest was spooked because we got like there's a spot where the trail sort of drops off and you can't really find the markings on the trees. And I had never hiked it before, so whatever. I digress. You saw a bear behind your house? Yeah, black bear though, right? Usually they say, so in high school, my senior year, like we always had extra where we like an extra period where you could kind of choose what you wanted. So sophomore and junior year, I took extra sciences. I think like I had a lot of science in high school, organic chemistry and physics and advanced physics, blah, blah, blah. And, but my senior year, instead of taking an extra science, because I didn't want to take advanced chemistry. Did I take advanced chemistry? No, maybe I didn't want to take AP Chem. I can't remember. Whatever it was, I didn't want to take the extra one. So I took outdoor ed, and we learned how to, like, the back of my school. I went to high school in Wisconsin. The back of my school had a big, what did they call it? I don't know. Nature center. So we did like cross country skiing and we did ice fishing, and they taught us to camp in black bear country. Just wear some jingle bells in your backyard. Just kidding. Black bears don't like noise. That's what they say. That's what they say. Okay, so let me make the list. I hope everybody is well. Please like. I don't think anybody's new here, but if you're new here, subscribe. You can check me out on TikTok. I just hit like 1,000 followers this week, and I haven't really done any videos. So I'm going to do some videos, and maybe I'll go live over there. I was thinking what I would do over there is randomly do like one, a free mediumship reading live, and or like a couple, but like here you're guaranteed your reading. So that's what I was thinking. I don't know. We'll see. And then also just talk about spiritual stuff over there. We'll see. All right, lovies. Okay. Let's see. Rachna, are you here? Because I didn't get to answer your question. I didn't get to the email. Or Rakdan, I think it's what you're. If you're here, I would love to answer your question. And I'm sorry I didn't get to it this past week. It was like really weird week. Jennifer, I am here. Are you here, Jennifer? I'm trying to get used to this phone. They went from an Android to an iPhone for multiple reasons. And I switched carriers. And the carrier I switched to was great. That wasn't their problem that I was having a hard time, but I was leaving Verizon. God. I hate Verizon. All right, I think we called the police about it. I'm sure that. Oh, okay. Oh, so after Devry, I'll add you on here just so you know I got your payments. I don't have your parents. Shar, Jihane and Shar, I have your payments. Okay. And Shar, I've got you for 2. All right. I'm sorry I wasn't here. I really my internet was acting so weird for several days, but I don't know what it was. Like we did all the unplugging. I kept checking to see if my bunny was chewing on cords because I caught she was in a little bit of a mischievous mode and no, don't call that. I don't know, y'all. My phone's just going crazy. Whatever. Hi, Aura. Okay, I'll check for you. So she jumped in, we have the TV and it's on a little TV thing. It's got, whatever. I don't know why I can't think of this. Anyway, TV stand, but it's got a couple little shelves where stuff sits, and she was jumping in there. And bunnies think all of your cords are roots, and so they chew them because they want to protect the house from being overgrown with roots. So I thought maybe, but no, alas, no, it was not her. And then I had just a really monster headache. I think I cannot eat any kind of gluten, anything for a little while. My body goes through these things. I don't know if any of you guys have this, but for a couple of years, I'll not be able to eat something. And then my body is like, okay, you can eat this again. So when I was a kid, I was allergic to watermelon for a few years. I couldn't eat almonds for a few years, and now I can eat them again. I don't know. Also, look into iodine, guys, and taking iodine. Just talking about iodine deficiency. Okay, rambling. Let's go. Who wants to ask their question first on the list? Either Rockton if you're here, or Jennifer if you're here. You've got 2 questions because you paid for one last week, and you also paid for one this week. And I saw your questions, but I want to make sure you're here before I just start rambling. JJ, I think you're Jihane, so right? All right, Mallory, I'll check you out. And it's super windy here. Okay, so after Shar, I've got Mallory. I'm going to add your list of names on in just a second, and Aura. Yeah, I just want to make sure. So I've got Jennifer, are you here? Kay or Nicole? Any of you guys can ask your questions. Slow down, Allie. Just kidding. And I will update the list. So while I'm waiting for you to type. Okay, Nicole, if you want to go ahead and type your question. JJ's. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, the weather is really, really pretty. It was a little cold. We ate lunch outside, and it was very windy, but it worked out well for my my daughter. My oldest daughter, she likes to wear her hair, put a little hood over her head when she goes out, and have her little headphones on. And so if it's hot, then she's because her jacket, she likes to wear, is really soft and cozy, and she's all about sensory stuff. Does anybody have sensory issues? On Thursday, I was wearing a shirt. I changed my shirt 4 times. Different shirts. I just couldn't I couldn't find a comfort level. I was wearing one shirt, had a whole bunch of embroidery on it. And I think sometimes when I wear it, it doesn't bother me. So that's why I don't get rid of it. But I was crawling out of my skin. And so then I changed into a shirt, but it had sometimes if it has a little bit of elastic here, I can't do it. Like, so I can do it sometimes, but not all the times. Like this, like I was just having massive sensory issues on Thursday. So I had to change that. And then I put a long sleeve shirt on, but then I got dirty. It's just a day. Okay. All right, G Day. I'll see. Okay. So Allie, do you have you had really bad sensory issues lately? I'm just wondering if there's something. So I sort of wonder if I pass around my head. Is there a hormonal thing? Is there a planetary thing? Or what if I just been in a mood? All right, GD, I'll check. So Nicole, can I ask about Dave again? This is the last time then. Devery, are you here? I saw you made a paid for a question, and I was like, I actually thought maybe after the last time we spoke that you were just done with me. So, Anna, I can't handle you anymore. Gotcha, GD. Well, so I've always had sensory issues. I just didn't realize that that's what was going on. So like, I'm going to update the list real quick. So my sensory issues were like, so wool sweaters. And if you are old enough to remember that in like the late 90s, early 2000s, those big alpaca sweaters were really awesome to wear with like, because we did not wear form-fitting clothes. That was not the style. But they were like awesome. And then like if you lived in Wisconsin and maybe other colder places, you would also wear big, thick socks and Birkenstocks because who doesn't wear that? But in college, like I wanted to like be able to, but like it feels like fiberglass on my skin. It's awful and it like burns. And so you'd have to wear a turtleneck, but then like I might wear that to go out to the bars because it was like perfect for keeping you warm in the winter. And you don't have to bring a big coat and get your winter coat all smelly and stinky from the bars because you could still smoke in bars then. And so I would wear that. But then like once I drank enough, I couldn't have a turtleneck on. I was like, it was a disaster. And then I have stuff with, I'm not wearing really any jewelry right now. So I have sensory issues at times with jewelry. So I always love those, the big, when people wear big jewelry and like they can wear like all the drapey, like whatever. But I can't, like it feels like, it ends up driving me nuts where I'm like, oh my God, just get it off of me. So I kind of be plain Jane. Hi, Sherry. Welcome, welcome. I'm just rambling right now. Okay, I'm going to ask. Let's look at Dave and then whoever wants to ask. So anyways, I was just rambling about my sensory issues and I'm looking for my rock. All right, let's go. All right, Nicole. I'm going to try and put this gently, but we know I tend to be a little more direct, right? So the feeling I get is like, it's not that you're too much. So I don't want you to be like, oh, she's saying I'm too much. You don't get to say anything other than like, you don't get to think anything other than what I'm saying. So don't turn this into something that it's not. And I say that with love because my brain used to go there too. So there, on his part, there is a slight reticence to like move in the direction like fast or whatever, because it feels like it's sort of that like, why can't she just enjoy this for what it is? And so like then when he's like, oh, I'm really enjoying this, and then it's like that pressure of it that it has to be something, it feels like so restrictive that like I say like a lot. Fair warning, Sherry, I'm a liker. He's not running, but it does feel like taking a pause or taking a break or feeling the pressure of it needing to be something instead of just trying to enjoy it and get to know someone? Okay. You have absolutely nothing to apologize for. There is no reason to, you are perfectly on time when you're here. I just wanted to make sure I gave you the opportunity to ask your question and be in line first. That's all. So this is what I'm saying. It's like, it's like he likes you, but the feeling is like, oh God, there's this pressure that it has to be something instead of just enjoying it. So I'm not talking about your feelings at all. This is like not about you. This is all about the way he's feeling. It's like, why can't we just enjoy the moment? Because by having that conversation about things not progressing, not just enjoying the moment. But here's the other thing. Do you really really want to be with him? So I don't feel like he's like, I'm cutting and running. I don't want anything to do with this chick anymore. But I just feel this like sense of like, this is a lot. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, we're not even that serious. Like, we're not like that in. And I feel like I'm already like, what religion is he? I mean, my husband's family is Jewish, and I grew up in a Catholic family / like lapsed whatever, a change to Episcopalian, celebrate the Christian holidays, but not really churchgoer people. And then I'm, of course, like the total off the deep end person because I'm like about Christianity. But I will say, like, it can be a little, even though my husband's family is definitely not religious by any means, but they're, they observe the high holidays. And I remember, like, when I was first dating my husband, I said to my mother-in-law, my kids are not going to have a bar or bat mitzvah. And she was like, what? And I was like, well, I don't really follow it. So, like, what's the point? Like, and then to me, it just feels like, can we have a check, please? Or Persian Jewish. Okay, let me ask you this. Would you be willing to convert? I mean, Jesus was a Jew, He wasn't Christian. Sorry. So that's me talking to you as a friend, not as a, I will say that it can be difficult if one person really, really wants a certain particular belief system, your children to be raised with a certain belief system, then it can be difficult. But it's not impossible. Now, that said, hang on just a second. Okay. So honestly, what I would say is like, go within. If you really, really want to be with him and you think he's like the most amazing thing, and it's not just like there's no other option kind of thing. If you feel like that, I would go to manifest it. So then you have to do like a daily thing where you're like, I don't really care like what the story is in front of me. The true story is, and then affirmations. I am chosen. I am valuable. I am worthy. Of course he wants to be with me. Like, why wouldn't he want to be with me? I'm fucking 10. Like, you just shift that narrative and all of that negative speak in your head, and that those intrusive thoughts that come in where you're like, oh my God, like he's not calling me 1,500 times a day. He doesn't want to be with me. Oh, he didn't wake up and say good morning to me on my text message. Like, and all the weird things that we've decided mean that somebody likes us, even though who knows why that's the thing that we decide that means they're interested in us. Like they have like these weird expectations. And that's a societal thing, I think. I don't think that's a you thing or a me thing. I was thinking about this earlier, and so that's sort of like what they're giving me is more of the thing of like you need to shift the narrative with what's going on in your brain and manifest it differently and think differently about it. Don't apologize. We are not allowed to apologize here unless you're being rude. None of you are being rude. You're good. So the way I'm feeling it is it's not that the relationship is impossible. It's just that you have to start shifting your mindset. And the truth is, if you don't start shifting your mindset, then it doesn't shift this at all. Yes, a stable relationship is absolutely possible, but you sort of have to go into the like non-needy, non-deciding it has to be this way mode and just be like, so you don't tell him any of that. And you can do the whisper technique too. The whisper technique is like you imagine yourself whispering in his ear, you want to be with me. Or Nicole is the most amazing woman in the entire world. Whatever it is. And 30%, Sherry, 30% goes to charity. So the charity I'm donating to this month is Planned Parenthood. And if you don't like Planned Parenthood, let me know, and I will donate that money to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. So that's the feeling I get. It's just more of that. It's not that it's like, because some people I get like, oh no, this relationship isn't going to happen. It feels like whatever is coming up is really more centered in your self-concept than it is about the impossibility of this specific relationship. There's some relationships where I get that cut and run. And this one, I just feel like it's more about the energy you're putting off, which is like sort of making it stagnant and not move. Also, this is for anybody neurodivergent, especially neurodivergent. Read about iodine deficiency. Follow that little bunny rabbit trail and see what you find. Because I've been supplementing, and I started my kids on it. Made my husband take it. It is pretty incredible. Okay, so Kay, go ahead and go. Jennifer Anderson, are you here, Jennifer? Are you here? Oh, no worries. Listen, I get it. I'm going to check the payments and just see in just a second. I'm just going to update the list really quick. Take Nicole out of here. I've been told from several readers that a coworker is going to get jealous, mad at me for something, and stab me in the back verbally. So how about this? You know me. Yes, take that as a hint from your guys. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys real quick, and then I'm going to talk because like I always end up back with manifesting, and you guys know that because I really believe everything's about mindset. So I believe that like when I do manifesting stuff and I decide like I wanted a lot of health stuff because I was like getting kind of stuck and having a harder time. I'm feeling really tired all the time and like all of this stuff. And like I didn't eat dairy for a couple days, and I was like, oh, and then I think I had like a skyr in the morning. I like skyr a lot. I like dairy, and I don't think dairy in and of itself is bad. It just my body goes through these weird things, and so of course the way my body decided that lactose intolerance was like not going to be like everybody else's, where you take a pill and you're good. Mine is like, I literally feel like I've taken 50 milligrams of Benadryl and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I cannot stay awake. So I realized that because I didn't have dairy for 3 days and then I ate it, I started paying attention. And it was after I had set a manifestation to be like not tired all the time. And so I think when we set intentions and set manifestations, it's not that like all of a sudden we wake up and everything is perfect. It's that our awareness can be drawn to the things that need to be tweaked, fixed, healed in our lives so that we can make the decisions to do those things, rather than it's just like, I just woke up and I was perfect today. Because that's not really how it works. And I think people don't really talk about that. That's how it works. So hi KK. I was brought to the awareness that I was tired after having dairy. So I did that, but I was still a little bit tired. So I was like, okay. The other thing I wanted to like, my hair was like falling out in droves. And it didn't occur to me, because all of my thyroid levels have always been normal and fine. And doctors are always like, oh, you're under stress. It's hormonal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's not always the answer. So I happened to be watching something and this like thing came up on TikTok, and this guy was talking about, hey, check out the moons on your nails. So, you've like, I don't know if you can see on mine, there's like these little white moons. If you don't have any on your fourth or third fingers, or very little on your middle finger, I had none here and none here. It is a sign of either a B12 deficiency or an iodine deficiency. I always take B complex, so I knew B12 was not my issue. So I thought, okay, so I just started researching. I always err on the side of caution. There's some things where they tell you to take super, super high doses. And I also, instead of just going to like a big dose, I titrated up to a little, started with a smaller dose and titrated up. Like I'd stay on it for a couple of days and then you void out iodine. Just do your own research, because I'm not a doctor. And if you're on any potassium sparing diuretics or any certain medications, this could cause an issue for you, because it is potassium iodide, and then there's nation iodine too. But so know your body, know your health, know where you're at, talk to your doctor or your if you have a naturopath person, do your research. But I am convinced that our nation, the United States, I know there's a lot of Canadians on here, has an iodine deficiency. And I'm sort of also curious for the people that have long COVID, because we store iodine all over our body. It's not just our thyroid. So we have, there's so much information where it's like people who have iodine deficiency often have cystic and fibrous breasts, like so much stuff, PCOS, like there's showing relations to a whole bunch of different stuff. So, and autoimmune diseases, it's a lot. And I'm wondering if, like countries where they consume a lot of seaweed and things that have iodine naturally. So, think about like Japan and China and probably Korea, like any of the Asian countries, because they do eat a lot of seaweed and fish. I wonder if their instances of long COVID are less than here. And because it was only something that piqued my curiosity about if we are deficient in iodine, and iodine is about healing and protecting our body. And it can decrease your cholesterol and protect your vessels. So I just wonder if the instances are less. And if maybe you need vitamin D in order to absorb iodine and selenium and all these other things. So if we're deficient in vitamin D, because I know they found a thing there's just a whole lot there that I'm wondering. Not necessarily, Allie, but you can get your iodine from supplements. I use Lugol's iodine. I don't know, just research it. Just research it. But I also, and this is why I say to the people who have ADD, so it can cause like forgetfulness and memory issues. And I had my first conversation the other day where the woman introduced herself to me, and we were talking, and she wanted to come over. It was a mother of one of the kids that my kids go to school with. And she wanted to come and meet our bunny. She's like, oh, I saw you put her on the screen, because they had for the day that we did voting, they had online school, and my daughter wanted to show her friends her bunny. And this woman was like, "Oh, can I meet your bunny?" But she introduced herself to me. And then by the end of the conversation we talked, she was like, "Oh, I forgot your name." And I was like, I knew her name. And I forget names all the time. And I'm like notorious for then like repeating it in my head, but I didn't even have to do that. So anyway, just saying. Okay. All right, Kay. So let's look at you. Sorry, my dear. Thank you for your patience and my rambling. Okay. So my thing about this is like, so I'm not going to say that they're wrong. I think a couple things happened here. Number one, when I teach people about, here, let me do it this way. When I teach people about psychic development and opening up your intuition, and they say like, why do you always see, and I'm going to explain why I'm explaining it this way so you understand why I'm going to say that my response the way I am. So if you sit in a circle of a whole bunch of readers and we all ask one question, right? And we all put in what we get. Why does everybody get a different answer? Or why does it, like, you might hit like one main theme and then everybody gets sort of different details, and some of them might seem opposing. So if we were to sit in front of, like, we were all sitting around this box, we would say, yep, that's a box of tarot cards. And we'd all say like, oh, and it's like a tealy green color, and there's some other shades on it, and there's some white writing on it. And like you, if you're sitting and facing it, you'd be like, oh, and there's like part of a woman's face and she's wearing a little hair clip and blah, blah, blah. But the person sitting on this side, I don't see a woman. I don't see that at all. Like, I'm only just seeing some white words and the colors. This person back here is like, oh yeah, I see some like different pictures. Actually, I see a lot more people here. And I see like, there's this other thing going on here. And this person's like, oh, well, no, I don't see a woman, but I see a hand. And I do see the multiple cards too. And I see the white writing. So we're all looking at the same question. We're all looking at the same thing. We're all getting different answers. Does it mean we're all wrong? No. So the way I'm seeing your answer is this, okay? I see that it happens, but I see that it's somebody who's sort of like already known for doing this. Like, and the way that it happens for you is not even something that's like, oh my gosh, it stabbed me in the back, right? Like, so if you have a tarot reader and they're like, oh my God, it's the 10 of swords, or the Tower card, and oh my God, it's terrible. It just means a surprise moment. Well, so I feel like it's like, it is, but it's such a minor infraction. And it's more like, by the time that this thing happens to you from this person, it's like, oh, they've been doing that like to everybody, like par for the course, but they don't have enough, whatever to fire the person. It's just like, well, they have a sucky personality. So I would not even worry about it. And I had to do this explanation so you understood why are all of these readers getting this, but you're saying this other thing. Like, why would they all be wrong? I don't feel like I know what it's about. I feel like it's something stupid. Like, honestly, where it's like, if it gets back to your boss, it's like another thing I have to deal with. Like, why do I have to deal with infantile behavior? It doesn't even feel like it's a believable, right? So it's not like you're doing anything wrong. It feels like, okay. So I would honestly would just say, like, stop worrying about it, or even focusing or being curious or about the why. It's also like the thing where if we spend a lot of time worrying about why did this terrible thing happen to me, you sort of stop yourself from moving forward. And you can't even, and half the stuff that happens to us that's really awful in this lifetime, it's like there isn't really, even if you knew why, it wouldn't be really good enough to satisfy the feeling of like, so good, I'm glad I went through this, that I understood the why. It's also like when people focus on like they're trying to grow spiritually, but they're like, I just need to get to the 5D or the new earth. It's like you're missing so many opportunities for a wonderful experience. It's not a crisis moment. But again, remember how I said this. We all see different things, and I don't feel it as a crisis moment. you can create your reality. And maybe she saw this part of it and was like, oh my God, it's a big crisis. In reality, it's not, but she didn't get the picture that this person did with all of these pictures on the back. She just got the close up. And so she sees it as a crisis. We all interpret our readings. And I can't tell you, I've done a lot of group readings. And when I'm teaching group people, and it's like, oh, but I don't see it that way. And it's like, well, why do we get them that way? Well, that's why. Stop being cautious of coworkers, because when you do that, you're going to end up drawing that crisis experience in. When I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be a crisis. It can be like this person does this to everybody, because that's the feeling I get. Don't necessarily keep on your own. Why don't you just decide, like, that's not my problem, and nothing ever, things, always good things happen to me. You can say people that would potentially be of harm to me are repelled from me. They aren't even attracted to my energy, and they keep their distance from me. You can decide how it needs to flow out, instead of going, because then that becomes a powerless moment, when you can be empowered and decide, like, oh, those people don't even bother me because they don't even come around me, because they're not even attracted to my energy, and I don't have to deal with that. The only thing that I got, I do feel like it's female, and I feel like she's probably shorter. But the only other thing I got is this feeling of her being transferred in. Like it's a feeling of her being bounced around from different places, and this is part of the reason why she gets bounced around. All right, Allie, what's your question? So remember that, because I know a lot of you do go to multiple readers, which, I mean, I'm just kidding. Which is fine. I've been to multiple readers, and I go to multiple readers, not all the time, but like I change around sometimes who I get readings from, because we're all filters and our experiences are filtered through it. So I feel like if I want a reading on my career, I'm going to want to go to like my mentor and pay him for a reading, because he's got a totally different filter than someone else who he's an entrepreneur. Like, he's like done stuff. You're very welcome, Kay. I think it's not to be like toxically positive, because I think sometimes things do suck, and I tell my kids, like, no, that sucks, and it's okay to be in there. But I also think sometimes there's perspective, and I've been doing readings for a really, really long time, and thankfully, I've had the opportunity to sit with a lot of other readers too, and in circles with readers, to watch how they read and feel how I get the information. And I've taught a lot of people how to develop their own intuition. So it's not that anybody's particularly wrong. We just get different bits of information for whatever reason. Okay. Allie, what are we going to do about you? Let's see. I'm just checking to make sure anybody else is on the list. Hi, Regine. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I'll add you on in just a second when I do the next set of updates. So I feel like you're going to do more than one internship. So maybe not at the same time. But thank you, KK. But maybe more like, are you planning on doing more than one? Because it feels like one this summer and one next summer, or... So the feeling I get is that applying for more than one job, like it's like applying for more than one internship. And it's either that you already take one and then Amazon offers you one, or it's like the second internship you take. Didn't I say a long time ago that I thought like you would be offered to and like you would end up taking something that you didn't think that you wouldn't have initially considered, but it ended up being a better fit for you. I feel like that's what I remember saying to you. Sorry about the yawn. When you say key holder, it automatically made me think of the Ghostbusters scene. Are you the key? Are you the key master? Sorry, like Rick between Rick Moranis and that lovely goddess of a woman. I can't remember her name. Gozar. Just kidding. Um, I still feel like you're going to get an internship. I don't know that you're going to get the key holder position. It doesn't mean that you won't get it. I feel like it becomes a non-issue. But have you just like applied? Because it's this feeling of like you need to apply for more internships. It's like you're going, well, I applied for Amazon, so that's it. That's what I want. And it feels like you need to just apply and like basically cast a wide net. Wait, you don't want to do what? Sorry, I just looked at the screen, so now I don't know what I was talking about when you said that. You don't want to do the key holder thing? I don't. It's like I feel like I wish I was getting a better, stronger answer. It's like I know you're going to get one, and I've said that. You guys keep coming back and asking the same questions. When are these internships supposed to start? Because I feel like you're not gonna. I don't. There's something about November, like starting at an off time, like not as a summer internship. And I think what I'm getting stuck on is because when I was in college 20 years ago or more, I realized that I graduated high school like almost 27 years ago, 26 years ago. And then went into college. It was like you just did summer internship. You didn't really do internships during the year. Do you do internships during the year here? Because I'm getting something like about the fall. Like it almost feels like I also this is really interesting too. Is I feel like you should be looking at something that's not in the area that you think like that's something outside of the box. So like it feels like something that's not necessarily like say I think like I don't know what you're doing, why you want to work at Amazon or Google, like um but it feels like going into a what you would think is a different industry for an internship. So maybe like interning in production, something like that, or like interning on a movie set, or which is weird because it doesn't fit. I know it doesn't fit what you're going to school for, but it feels like I'm supposed to be outside of what I think I'm supposed to be doing. So like there's what's it called? Something initiative, something it's with I know Brian Reynolds has it where it's like him and his wife set up for BIPOC and um, I think LGBTQ IA plus. I know there's like a whole bunch of extra letters now that I'm not sure of, but for people who are typically not hired to sort of like break in. It feels like doing something like that. Like it doesn't feel like it's your thing, but it feels like somehow it fits into what you're doing. I don't understand it, but that's what I keep getting. Take it for what it's worth. Look it up, Google it, see what you think. And I don't know why, but that's what I keep feeling. And I know that you're on the East Coast, so they do filming in this area. There's like a lot of stuff getting filmed in New Jersey, which I think is interesting. And they're talking about building some kind of movie studio here or some kind of studio thing here. It does sound hard to figure out, and I know it doesn't make any sense at all, but it might be worth just throwing caution to the wind and seeing what happens. I know that's weird. So I don't know. I don't know why they would show it to me that way. And that's why I'm like, this is weird that they're showing it to me this way because I know it has nothing to do with what you do, but there might be somehow where it oddly fits or you what you're studying you can bring to the table. Like maybe it's I have no idea. I don't know. All right. Rocked on Jennifer, Devry, JJ, Shar, Mallory, Aura, GD, Regine. Just try it, see what happens. Okay, JJ, if you want to go ahead and ask your question, unless Devry or Jennifer are rocked on, if you guys want to. Okay. No apologies. Stop apologizing. You're not allowed to apologize here. Nobody has done anything worthy of an apology. You can say, "Excuse me. I didn't mean to jump the gun." But either way, you're not hurting anybody. And I will take JJ before Mallory, because I think JJ is before Mallory anyway on the list. Smart ass. I just, in this circle that I get to participate in, I am not running it. I am learning the skill and the art of, not apologizing for my own tears and not feeling the need to rush to heal somebody else's pain, like when they're crying, to just allow space for that and allow them to, cry and not feel like, oh, it's okay. Like to let them keep talking through. And it's really been a huge gift to be able to do both of those things. And also the gift of not apologizing. We don't have to apologize, not unless it's necessary. And most of the time we're not doing things that, deserve an apology. Like standing in the aisle in front of somebody else. You've all apologized for your existence in the aisle at a grocery store before. Okay, I just want to ask about my boss in the bank, if he feels okay with me and my work, or if he's planning to propose me something. Planning to propose. Not to you. What's your boss's first name? And I'm guessing like propose for you to move to a different position, or to internalize you. Wait a minute. I mean, that's oh, okay. I don't know what any of that means. But I will assume that we were talking on the up and up and not the So I heard he likes her, but he doesn't like her. You know what I mean? But he likes her. But thinks you're capable, thinks you're smart, that you're good at learning things. There's definitely like a learning curve that needs to be hit. So there is like refinement that like, so there is a learning curve there, but it feels like perfectly capable of learning, perfectly capable of growth. I heard satisfied with the hire. So they're satisfied that they have hired you, that they work with you. It's not, an issue. Oh, Sherry. Okay, good. I'm glad. Welcome. So yeah, I feel like you're fine. I don't feel like internalize at all. I do feel like oh, the one thing I did get was sometimes there's like a little bit of a barrier to communication. So I don't know if it's just, and I don't think it's like, I think the way sometimes he explains things seems like odd to you. And so I don't know, but like it's not fully understood. It's like, did he mean that or do you mean this? Like, so it's okay to ask for clarification. Don't feel like you're putting him out when you're asking for clarification. I definitely think this is a language barrier. So when you say to me, like, will he propose? That means like here. That means, will you marry me? Is he going to ask you to marry him? Explain to me what that means to be internalized. Does that mean like you work as a contract employee right now and you're wanting to be a full-time employee? Is that what you're asking? Because I just want to make sure. So it sounds weird that I would ask that, but remember that it's all a filter from my frame of reference. So if I don't have a frame of reference for that, it feels like I'm standing in a big black room and I can't turn a light on. And I'm like, I don't. So sometimes I'm like, I don't. Sometimes when I'm saying to you guys, like, I don't know. It literally feels like I've just entered a big, dark, empty room. There's no walls, and all I feel is like just black void around me. And so I'm like, it's deafening silence. I definitely was not live then. It was probably a recorded one, and I can go back and figure out which one you were on. That's funny. Okay, I see. So yeah, so that's like a contract, like you're contracted. So you are like, so in nursing, that would be like I'm an agency nurse. So that I work for an agency, and the hospital hires me through the agency. I feel like he will, but I feel like it's something about 6 months. So I don't know if you have to work through your contract or through your external as like 6 months first, and then he can hire you on to like as a full-time employee, but it feels like in 6 months. And they just said, keep up the good work, keep doing what you're doing. So don't feel like you've done something wrong ever. You're doing exactly what you need to do. I do feel like he will 6 months from now or 6 months from when you were hired, but there's something about 6 months being. Okay. So Jennifer, you asked about, hang on, you wrote a whole list about, what do you want to focus on? You got 2 questions because you paid last week and you paid this week. You're very welcome. I'm just going back to my email quick and see if I can find yours. Let me go here. I get so many notifications for this the way I have it set up. I don't know why I have it set up the way I do. Here we go. So I do want to say this, the very first place. So I feel like with your traveling, Jennifer, I feel like you'll be fine in Ireland, and you'll be fine. The trip for your parents, I feel like it's going to be more like late September into early October. I don't feel like it's going to be the August to September. I think part of that is I feel like there's a significant difference in the price of the tickets if you like, it's like you're like going to schedule it and they're like, and it doesn't matter really the time frame, so it feels like it works out that it's like a better deal. But I do get a big caution around Florida, and not, sorry, my nose is a little itchy, and not because like don't go, it's gonna be terrible, but it just feels like I don't want to say I think you're going to get COVID, but I feel like it, for whatever reason with Florida, it feels like it's looming as an issue there. So I still like to wear masks places. There are very few times where I won't wear one. I mean, I think I went, where did I go? My girls and I, we went bowling with my husband yesterday, and the girls and I were wearing masks. My husband didn't, but we were all wearing masks. And like, there was only one or two other people in the bowling alley that were wearing masks. But I think I just watched a thing about carbon dioxide and like CO2 levels. And, you need oxygen to circulate and to like have, whatever. Long story short, I'm like, maybe we should still be wearing them. But also, not because I think, oh my God, we're going to die and this is a whole, but like, I hate getting sick. Hi, Devry. You can go as soon as I'm done with Stephanie. Stephanie, are you still here? I mean, not Stephanie. Jennifer, are you here? So I feel like caution around that trip. So it feels like be extra aware. And like, if someone's like, oh, I have allergies, or I don't know, I just have the sniffles, like wear your mask around that person. It just feels like be extra aware. And it doesn't feel like don't go. It just feels like be aware. What else does Spirit want you to know for this summer? I also feel like there's the delay and like the pushback of the trip just a little bit, because I feel like after your trip to Ireland, I think you said it's in July, it just feels like feeling like this is more than I realized. Like I feel more tired than I realized, and I'm not up for the big travel. I also feel like when you travel with your parents, it feels like to give extra time for getting through the airport with them and on the way out, not the way back in. And to me, it feels like, again, large lines, but it's not, I don't know necessarily that it's because they're canceling flights. It just feels like needing extra time to get through all the lines. I feel like your mom has a harder time. She just likes to move a little bit slower and on her pace. Are you still here? Am I talking to myself? Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself, y'all. I mean, I'm kind of talking to myself. Devery, I don't know if you were here earlier. I said I was surprised that you purchased, because I thought maybe you were just done with me after the last time you were here. KK, is there a delay? Is everybody hearing me? Or are you hearing me? Should I watch this on my own and see? Let me see. Hold on. Turn that down. Let's see. Hold on. Nope, no delay. Not too much of a delay. Okay. So, Jennifer, are you here? Oh, it's weird to watch myself. I always wonder how people can do that. Jennifer, the other thing that they're saying is that they're speaking of it. There's in the royal, we think that we need to be everywhere at once. but you need to make time for yourself to slow down. It's this interesting feeling of feeling like if I stay really, really busy, then I don't have to really focus on my shadow. And it feels like this summer you're going to be doing a lot of shadow work and a lot of healing your shadow. So in August in particular, so it might be coming back from Ireland that forces you to do some of the shadow work or look at things differently. That's where like big growth occurs, but it feels like almost like an emotional drop where it's not something you were expecting or wanting, because you were sort of, if I just keep going, it'll fix itself, it'll heal itself. And I'm not saying that you're necessarily this way, but it happens a lot in the spiritual community where people are like, just be positive, just be positive. And you can be really positive to a point. At a point, you got to look at the shadow stuff. I saw this woman say something, and I wish I could remember her name. I think I have a picture of it because I wanted to do a little video on it. But she asked this question. I thought it was really good. It's like, if you're working on finding your blocks, like say you have a money block, instead of like being like, oh, money loves me, money comes to me in all these ways, and we just focus on that. It's like, and I've talked about this a lot, about looking at family belief systems, but she said this, and I thought this is interesting, is how do you receive gifts? Or how do you accept when the universe does something nice for you? Say you go out to lunch with a friend and the friend is like, hey, let me pay. Do you see that as a gift or as free money or money loving you? Or do you see that as like, no, I'm not going to let you pay for me? Or, oh, this, like, I don't want any gifts. Like, this is not, and this is like, this made me really look at it. So it feels like there's something that happens when you're in Ireland on this retreat where you're forced into this like valley. We go through peaks and valleys in time, but you're forced into this valley of like really doing some deep shadow work and looking at yourself. That's what I see for you this summer. And since I don't know if you're still here, I'm going to move forward. Devery, you can ask your question. Shar, you've got two. Mallory or Regine. Devery, I knew you were mad at me. And I love you. And I love that you still come back. And I always worry that my directness is, I know it pisses you off. I know it does. But I think like I have always been that friend to people that I'm not, I don't feel like I'm mean, but I'm also not, I'm honest about, like, and not in a mean way, but just, I think because I truly value honesty and people being direct. I just, half the time people say things, I'm like, am I supposed to read into this differently? I'm not really sure. I don't like, there are times where I'm like, just tell me. Just. I get frustrated too. So I get it. I've been there. I feel like this to you. Okay. Mallory, what do you see upcoming for me this week? So if you want to ask your question, Devery, I don't know why I did this because there's no hair to tuck behind my ears. It's a habit. I just saw something that looks like a pumpkin blossom. Like have you ever seen a pumpkin blossom? But you're not looking at the blossom, like with the open of the flower where you see the pistil and the stamen and all of that stuff. It's like I'm looking at it from the other side of it. So I don't know if you're going to end up this feels like something like as a sign of like, and I don't know what it is, but it feels like this is a sign of like, this is a validation. It doesn't feel like, and it may be that you, in the fall, you'll see people like stuff pumpkin blossoms, and restaurants will stuff pumpkin blossoms and then you eat them. Like they're really good. They're not weird. Um, but I feel like I'm like more like I'm on the like outside. So do you, I don't know if you know somebody who's planting pumpkins. They grow on a vine on the ground. But this feels significant because they're showing that. I'm also hearing this song. Hang on. I can't remember the artist's name. Um, oh, sorry. What's this guy's name? He's dead. Uh, Jeff Buckley. Um, do you know that version of it? No, not Mr. Rogers. Did he sing a version of it? I know he was a like a Methodist minister or something. So it's completely possible. I got it, Emily. I just got it. I'm trying to look at the words. So there's a line. It's the second verse, and that the first line in the second verse is, "Your faith was strong, but you needed proof." Hmm. Look up the lyrics to it. I'm just wondering if this is this around the time that Tony passed or his birthday? Is there something going on with that? And I asked that because of the way this song is as I'm reading it. It's like that feeling of despair. Like as a kid, you maybe believed love was one way, and then this loss hit you, and it feels like love is not that at all. Your birthday is Tuesday, and your aunt. Oh, that hits it. Sorry. I need to just. There. So I know this is going to sound weird, but somehow the pumpkin blossom is going to be significant. And I feel like it's just sort of that like sign of hope, sign of life and things to come. And remember that it's like, so when a pumpkin blossom starts, it's this really beautiful flower, but it kind of, it's a while before you get to the fruit and the fruit ripening and everything else, that it's like, just know that it's just the beginning. And this is the sort of the hard part right now. And I just feel like that's your symbol of hope this week. So it may be that you actually see a real pumpkin blossom. It may be that you see a drawing. I don't know, but it feels like that's significant. And not like if you Google to look at what a pumpkin blossom looks like. That doesn't count. Is there something more specific that you wanted to know around the week? Because I just keep hearing you're going to be all right. Why is he making me hear like a squeaky car door? Because I feel like new cars don't get this sound. It's like this sound of like, like, I don't know. To me, it reminds me of like something from the 80s or the 70s where it's like, oh, it's a car door though. It's like a metal sounding, needs oiling kind of car door sound. It's not a door in the house. Yeah. Even when when someone's around, when I've had loved ones that have crossed over, and nothing like the loss that you're experiencing. So, not trying to diminish this when I say this, but even when I know, like, I can talk to them and I know they're like, we're communicating, it's not the same. It's not. And so, as much as we know, like, they're here, they're with us, they love us, they're around us, blah, 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 it's not the same. And so, I have so much compassion for what you're going through. And it's got to be a very, very hard time right now. Do you have a shirt of his that you sleep with, or a pillow with like it's like that feeling of, I can still smell him, but it's starting to fade now? You sleep with his old shirts, yeah. It's almost like I felt it like it was a shirt over a pillow and I'm hugging it. And it's that feeling of like it's starting to fade a little bit. It's not as strong. The smell isn't as strong. I'm sorry. I just dropped my rock, I think. Yes, indeed. It sucks, Mallory. You're welcome for everything. I wish I could make it better. Humaning is hard, and we all get different paths, and it's not easy. Devry, what's your question? Devry or Shar? Just a general, okay. Do you have a headache, Devry? Okay. Just, I could feel it, so that's why I'm asking, because I felt it like right here. This is my left side. I'm kind of like coming down the front part of my head and down. Like it's a very specific spot. And then I felt a little bit of short of breath, but I feel like it's more because like I'm sitting in a humid climate. It feels warmer. Not so much that like, excuse me, I have a cardiac issue or anything like that. I just felt like that, like, ugh. Do you also have like a something with your right shoulder or where the pectoral muscle connects into your shoulder? Um, I say this because I keep getting shown like this, like some issue here, and then it's like a medicine woman. I keep getting shown pulling something like, um, I don't know if she's pulling or if she's like, I just keep seeing this like this motion, not with her hands. It's like some kind of tool, like cleansing this area and pulling. She's making me feel like it's the, now remember, everything is a filter, right? So I don't necessarily believe it. This is the language she's using in this way, but it's like pulling the evil out or pulling the bad negative energy out or pulling something out of you. And she just said to me, she can't, she has almost like a like an island accent, so either from like um uh Jamaica or something like that. And she said she can't help where she's at. What did you say? She said she can't help where she's at, but I'm not going to leave her where she's at. I get this feeling that she's been working with you at night, either as you're falling asleep or like in the middle of the night. And I feel like you've woken up or become aware of her. It's almost like chanting that she does over you and trying to heal you and send you. And it's like, I feel like you thought you were dreaming or you thought you were nuts. Like you sort of dismissed it, but it's like this, it's very interesting. She's not bad. She just has a different spiritual practice. You felt a pounding on your back. Okay. It's not evil. It's not like it's her trying to heal you and trying to pull out of you this. She's annoyed me because I'm like, well, how do I say it? Like, because the way she's saying it is like, to me, it sounds scary, but I'm like, but that's not really, it's just, darker energy, not healing, not moving, stagnant energy. She calls it uh, she's like frustrated with me. She's like, "Oh, do what you like." I'm like, okay. Sorry, I snorted. I hesitate in using the language she's using because it's not, I feel like you're going to perceive it wrong. So it's like the darkness, but it's not like evil or Satan or anything like that. Yeah, it's her like talking, like to remove energy from you. Um, she said you need to quit fighting it. So it's like, she said, you've been calling us in, but you don't allow us to do the work. It's time for us to do the work. So it's important that you say, I give permission, I accept any and all healing, I allow this healing work to be done. I know I am safe and secure and protected by the divine universe. So it keeps you feeling like you're nice and safe and in a bubble, not just like giving up your power, but then it also allows that permission to come in because it works better when we allow it. There are some deities that you can work with that will like Hecate or Kali, they'll come into your life and they will clean house. Like a lot of them, a lot of people, when they read it, they're like, oh, they're about death and destruction. Like, no, they're about making changes happen. So you either get on board and go with them and work with them and make it as smooth as possible. It doesn't mean it's going to be painless, but like they're all about cleaning house and organizing and getting rid of the things that no longer work for you. And so you either work with them or you work against them. It doesn't matter. They're still going to do their work. And it feels like she's sort of in that mode where she's like, this has to be done. She can work with me or against me, but that's all it is. So I feel like this is coming up because you need to be reassured that you are not crazy. You're not losing your mind. This is real. This has been happening and you're safe and you're protected. And this is for your own process of healing. There's something where it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but she's removing some of the stuff. And it's the best way I can explain it. I can't, because it sounds like it's not that she's. So there is something to be said for energetic attachments and energetic holdings that we get on ourselves that then sort of present as a Western medicine physical disease. So you heal through the Western end, like taking the steroids and the antibiotics and all of that stuff, but then you heal energetically too, where you remove the attachments. And she's doing that work for you. So you don't need to go and pay anybody. She's doing the work for you. Just accept, allow, and receive and release. So look up pelvic release. We store trauma in our pelvis. So just look that up and techniques for releasing trauma in your pelvis. That might help you. My whole body shook when I did it. I cried. I laughed uncontrollably at one point, like because I've done it several times. Like because we store trauma, or psoas release, not pelvic release. So PSOAS, psoas release. Okay. All right, Shar, are you here, or Regine, or Emily? Hello, Heron. All right, Char, I'm going to answer you first because you're above that. You're in front of Emily on the list. I don't think you have to wait until so Char, it says, do you see me building any new connections, friendships, females next semester? I feel like you're gonna connect with someone this summer in like August who feels like it feels like an easy friendship, like you've known each other. I don't feel like it's so they're sort of talking a little bit about having like it's not about lowering your expectations, but if you have expectations about what that friendship is supposed to look like, it feels like this person's not going to necessarily fit that mold, but it's going to be your person, right? Your friend. So it feels like when you do the manifesting, if you're doing a visualization for what you want, a lot of people get caught up on like seeing it as, oh, I see the relationship in the end. Like me, this can be applied romantically. This can be applied to a job. This can be applied to a friendship. And it just feels like it's harder for you to veer off it being a very specific way that the friendship works. And they're sort of like, go about the end result differently. So like for me, if I can't quite visualize, if I'm having a hard time being like, oh, this is what it'll naturally feel like or whatever, I'll go, oh, I'm just going to imagine myself telling a friend about what this experience is, because it removes that stuck feeling for me. But I feel like meeting somebody in August, and I feel like you'll meet her through somebody else. So maybe it's one of your guy friends' new girlfriends, or one of his friends comes into town and you meet her that way. But it feels like meeting her through somebody else, not like at work or randomly on campus or anything. And I get it because I always had a lot of guy friends, so I understand. But I also had a lot of I don't know. Women can be tough. Not always, but they can be. Oh, Heron, these are paid readings. They're $12 a reading, and 30% is going to Planned Parenthood. So when I see it really taking off, like they're talking to me about the age of 23, or could be next year actually. How old are you? You're 20. Yeah, I feel like it's more not next year because I just wanted to be double check and that they weren't meaning for 2023. I feel like it's around the age of 23. It doesn't mean that you're doing nothing and then all of a sudden you take off, because it doesn't work that way, right? Most people, whenever he's like, oh, they just like shot to fame. Well, no, they really didn't. They've been doing all of this work a whole lot before that. So, but it feels like I see you touring, but it may be smaller tours or opening at 23. But I also feel you doing smaller stuff in the meantime before then. So it may be a lot smaller gigs, kind of things like that, like not coffee house size, but like a smaller venue. And then like doing more. But around 23 feels like about the right time, not the year 2023. And it is hard work. And they said, but it'll pay off. So just stick with it. Don't give up. All right, Regine, Aura, and Emily. Well, the other thing is like, so instead of getting stuck as being creative, just say like, oh, I'm highly intuitive. I always know what to write. I always know how to write. Things come to me easily. It's not a problem at all. Like, I'm not worried about if I don't get stuck. Because I know the universe will pop in with an idea. Who, can you give me the name of the person you're in a long distance relationship with? Just the first name. I don't need a last name. I feel like, Regine, that your surgery is going to be put off to the fall. And I don't feel like it's because it feels like I do feel like you'll have it. So don't get disheartened. But it's like, I feel like I get the news about it in August and maybe then I have it in October. But it feels like there's scheduling issues. There's also insurance issues. So getting everything cleared the way it needs to get cleared. And then also meeting requirements maybe takes just a little bit longer than would have been expected or anticipated. And I also feel like there might be like just right before you're supposed to have it, like a little bit of a hiccup where they like, and I think I'm telling you this because I think they want you not to worry about it. So it feels like maybe it takes me a little bit longer. Like if I do surgery, sometimes they want you to lose a little bit of weight before the surgery. So maybe it takes me a little bit longer to lose it than I thought. And maybe it takes a little bit longer for insurance to cover or accept or approve whatever it is, the surgery. And then there's delays because of like scheduling conflicts with surgeons slash maybe he likes a specific anesthesiologist or a specific team. And so that creates a little bit of a barrier. But then I feel like right before the surgery, you might have like a thing where you have an irregular heart rhythm. So then they want to do a cardiac workup to make sure that you're safe and you're clear for for surgery. So maybe you have a little arrhythmia, like a little AFib or a little, I don't know, something like that. Because they're showing me the rhythm. Maybe it's a slightly elongated or something QT wave. I don't know exactly, but I did not have to read heart rhythms. So thank you. Thank you. But it looks like there's just something that's just slightly off, but it feels like when they maybe you go in initially for your EKG before surgery to make sure everything, and they're like, oh, that looks a little off, but it turns out that it's like more related to dehydration than it is related to like an actual heart problem. So it just feels like when you find that out, don't panic and go to like, oh my God, it's never going to happen. And now all this other stuff is wrong. It just feels like it's a minor fix. It's not anything major. Okay. Okay. You're welcome, Shar. And Alex for Aura. And Emily wants to know about, I haven't forgotten you. Okay, Haran, are you still here? Here's what you can do. Go over to my TikTok and find me on TikTok. It's this is my TikTok. My underscore. I'm going to do lives over there eventually. I can't guarantee you a reading over there, but you'd have a chance to get a free reading there. Or you can sign up for my website and try and win a free reading there too. Those are options. You didn't miss your turn, not at all. Where are you? I know I have you. I don't know why I don't have you on my list here, but I know I have you. Okay, so I have Aura, Emily, and GD left. I will always email you if I can't find you, like Rock John, I have to email because I don't think she's here today. All right, Emily, I'll answer yours, and then I'll do Aura's, and then so Emily wanted to know what will happen if I don't go to college. What kind of jobs will I have? Are you still here, Emily? Thank you for hanging out. Oh. So it's story time. They said the truth is she'll be fine. The truth is she won't be going to school for a year or two anyway. And I feel like I feel like honestly you'll probably do waitressing jobs or things like that in that meantime. And then it feels like we're bartending. And then it feels like then I decide what it is I want to do. And that's when I go back to school. But I feel like initially you'll go back to school either to like a junior college or community college or a trade school, and you'll do that work for a little bit, and then it's like you don't just go to school and you're done for life, and then like it actually feels like you are working for a little bit, and it's not like you're like, oh, this is so terrible. It's just like you get a bug in your bonnet or a bee in your bonnet, and you're like, oh, I really want to do this now. Like now I know what I want to do. Now I know what my passion is, and I'm going to go do that and try and, so I can do what I love rather than, and it doesn't feel like, oh, because you're not smart enough to go to like a 4-year college or whatever. It feels like I'm doing it this way because this actually makes the most logical sense for me to get this certification or this training this way first. And then as I'm working, go back and increase my knowledge and receive more education on what I'm doing or specializing in. And I actually feel like at a point, you're going to be owning your own business as an entrepreneur. Jennifer, I answered your questions. I'm just typing it just in case because I was calling you like the whole time. And I think you're behind here. So catch up, and then you can always email me. All right, Emily. Okay. Aura, you want to know about your long distance relationship? Yeah, I feel like it would be okay for you to not go to school for another year. Like, I don't feel like, oh my God, you're just a total dropout. I feel like you're still working, like doing bartending or waitressing. I see you in more of a like interpersonal setting, right? But not like retail and not doing executive assistant work. I see it literally looks like either waitressing or bartending. And I feel like you do that. And then you sort of like, I think through talking to people and like, it kind of gives you this like, oh, this is what I actually want to do. And then you go to school for that. Then. So it's not like, oh my God, I'm just going to be like minimum wage for the rest of my life. And this is what I've accepted because I'm not going to college right now. I also feel like you're going to be making connections through waitressing or bartending that will actually benefit you. So somebody who would be a good mentor for you, either in, financial handlings of owning your own business or investing, but something like that. All right. Aura wants to know about her long distance relationship with Alex. So they're your guides are funny. So sorry, I'm just trying to. Have you been together 5 years or five? Like there's something about a five, and I 1 year and 5 months. Okay. Has the distance been for 5 months, or has the distance been for the whole time? I just I just feel like so I said I was like, "Oh, is he faithful?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I don't feel like he's having an affair. I don't feel like he's cheating on you and like in a physical relationship with another girl. But it's this feeling of like so this isn't cheating. It's a feeling of like being wrapped up in something else. Like so you can be wrapped up in a job or wrapped up in the work you're doing and not giving the attention and care to your partner that they deserve. And that's sort of like an affair, but it's not really an affair, right? So it's that feeling of like not holding his end up. So you're being really understanding and you're really being like, okay, yeah, I get it. But your needs aren't getting met emotionally, right? So it's that feeling. Um, oh, okay. So that's why I was like laughing because I was like, well, your guides are funny because they were like, I was like, is he faithful? And they're like, like, uh, it's not like he's cheating or having a real affair, but he just isn't giving you the emotional that you need because he's wrapped up in his work. I think for him, the long distance is perfect because he's he doesn't have to go all in emotionally. And it's a, like a good fit for him. Have a good week, Jennifer. So, are you planning on going to Canada or does he have a Canada connection? So hold that little nugget in your pocket because I don't know what that is or why they would have me this feeling of like meeting in Canada. Um, I feel like you will eventually meet. Um, I don't want to say this, but it may be a little bit of a letdown. And I hope I'm totally wrong on this. I hope that I am like, and I don't feel like it's because he's such a terrible person or there's something, like, oh, I'm just not worthy, or I don't know, but it feels more like will have done a lot of emotional growth by that time, and maybe he hasn't. And so it's like you're in this one direction. You're like, maybe I had that more built up in my head than I thought it was. I'm not saying long distance relations can't work. It's the feeling I'm getting around this of like, no, I think I really want, like, I thought I was okay with this and I was okay with this at a point, but now I'm really realizing that I've grown and it's okay for me to be like, oh, I'm worthy, I'm deserving, and all of that stuff. And so this may be not what I'm looking for. Um, No, I'm going to be done taking questions because it's already 6 o'clock. So if you want to come back next week, Gia. Oh, I'm not going to do it on Sunday next week. So maybe I'll do them on Saturday or something. I'll send out an email and let you know, and I'll try and post here in the community. So take a look for that, and I'll post on. But I can't do it next Sunday because we have a graduation party to go to on Sunday at 4 o'clock, coincidentally, up in Westchester. So, GD. What's your question, dear? You're welcome, Aura. Oh, wait, I see you. Here we go. Nope. GD, are you here? Are you here? You're my last one. There you are. Oh, it's funny that you wrote 2 weeks, because I was going to say, what's the connection with two, like the two that I got right away, but I was thinking it was 2 months. So okay. Um, so what's interesting is I do feel like you're going to have a reconciliation, but I feel like it's going to be actually a couple of years down the road, and you're like, oh my god, a couple of years. But I feel like it's this. There's a long. I heard blowing something out of proportion, and I feel like it's on their end. And it just feels like this long break, and then also growth that happens between you, on each of you goes through individually, and then circle comes back around in like 2 years, and it becomes a stronger connection then. And I actually feel like they will apologize to you. I heard short-sighted, like, and a bit of a temper. So short-sighted and a bit of a temper. Okay. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm telling you the whisper technique works. So I know that's disappointing, and it's not necessarily what you want, but it feels like it ends up like needing that growth and that time and that separation. And I can be wrong, and you can manifest whatever you want. But that's the feeling I get right now where you're at and the energy you're sitting at. All right, I'm going to go. I am tired. I think the heater in here is making me a little sleepy. Oh my God, it's our last week of school, and this has been a year of. So I am so looking forward to the summer, not having to drive anybody, just like go to the pool, maybe go on some walks in the woods. We've got so many great trails here, and take my little ones with me. I hope everybody enjoys their week. Keep an eye out for an email. I'll let you know when I'm going to go live. And especially since I missed last week, I feel bad. I don't want to let you guys down, or ladies, gentlemen, people, beings, souls, and spirits, whatever you want to call it. Trying to not be gender conforming. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And thank you for all of your love and support always, and your trust in coming to me and letting me answer these questions for you. Have a good one.